3 points. Liverpool couldn't get 3 points today. Arsenal couldn't get 3 points today. Manchester City couldn't get 3 points today. Tottenham couldn't get 3 points today. But Michael Carrick's Reds went and got 3 points today. Put your hand up if your team won today. We can put our hand up. We can be shameless. And look, guys, you've got to enjoy today's like this. Like, we haven't had many days like this lately. I said it when we beat Liverpool under Amram earlier in the season. I said, I'm going to be shameless. I'm going to be unbearable because I'm just going to enjoy it. There's not many days where we win, Liverpool don't beat Burnley, and City lose, and Arsenal drop points. There's not many days like that. So I have probably been unbearable today in my group chats, unbearable, probably on Twitter, unbearable. To be honest, I feel sorry for half people that follow me, especially if they're not Man United fans. I've probably been so unbearable. But you know what? I've just enjoyed myself. That wasn't just a win. That was an incredible performance. Like, you just have to enjoy it. Do you know what? It was a comp of all our attacks versus Man City that went on Twitter, yeah? 17 minutes. 17 minutes the comp was of all our attacking moments versus Man City. 17 minutes. I can't remember last time we had a game that good. Now, people are saying, yeah, but Amarin beat, Liverpool at Anfield, and that was a fantastic game. But when we beat Liverpool at Anfield, they hit the bar 3 times. We got completely outdone in the second half, and Maguire went up the other end against the run of play and won it. We've won big games before. The Lyon comeback was amazing. That's one of my favourite games. But this was a game where we won, but we knew we were going to win. Like, do you know what I mean? When we went 1-0 up, I didn't feel like we were going to concede. This was a game where this was a 7-0 coaching. There's been brilliant games we've won, like at Anfield, like the Lyon comeback. Even the FA Cup final, we were all over them. But this was just a different level. To absolutely destroy City like this, I can't remember the last time we were this dominant against the big side. Like, this was a different level of domination. Like, and look, I'm going to be giddy. I'm going to overreact, but I'm going to say this. Let's be real quickly. I'm going to be shameless. I'm going to be giddy. I'm going to overreact while I can. But obviously, I will say this: our chances of beating Arsenal are slim. Even after seeing that performance, and I know Arsenal have dropped points to Forest, Arsenal have not lost at home this season. Arsenal have battered Bayern Munich this season. They've battered Atletico Madrid this season at home. Like, we're going to the Emirates. We haven't won at the Emirates since Lingard did the moonwalk, if we're talking about an actual win-win, unless you count the penalty shootout. So what I will say is I am going to be shameless, but we can't get carried away. Like, I'm going to get carried away. I'm going to be shameless. But for real, we actually can't we have to be realistic. But this was phenomenal. Like, they didn't have a single shot on target. Now, you might think, we only had 7 shots on target. We had 10 if you count the offside goals. 11 would have been Maguire hitting the bar, and 12 would have been Ahmad hitting the post. But obviously, if you hit the bar on the post, that's not on target, and the 3 offsides don't count. The XG we generated was absolutely nuts. And people say we had less possession, but we didn't have, City. I'm sorry, look at this City attack. Let me go to the lineup here. Haaland, Doku, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Semenyo. And then they bring Cherky and even Reinders is very attacking off the bench. They cannot have 1 shot on target. This attack could not have 1 shot on target. We had 2 clean sheets in the last 23 games. We've had 2 clean sheets in the last 23 games. And this attack could not get a shot on target versus us. Like that, we can talk about the fact that there's a 17-minute comp of all our attacks and how good we were going forward, and how, when you actually deep it, Carrick coached like a 5-6-0 win. Maguire hits the bar, Ahmad hits the post. There was 3 offsides. One of the offside, I don't even think was offside. I don't think the last goal was even offside. Donnarumma made an insane save on Casemiro that Casemiro probably should have scored. Like, when you actually look at the chances that we had, we could have won that game 5-6-0 on another day if we stay on side. If Donnarumma did a worldy save on Mbumo as well, did a good save on Ahmad. Like, you actually look at the chances we had. So not only did we do enough to score about 5 goals, but this team was so compact out of possession. It was more like a 4-4-2 compact out of possession. But Martinez was getting rinsed by Scholes and Nicky Butt. Haaland got hooked. Haaland got absolutely hooked. Stinker. Off the pitch. Like, he got hooked. Like, even Dalot, who was awful the first 15 minutes, defensively did quite well on Doku. Luke Shaw on the yellow card did well on Semenyo. It was crap. Semenyo was absolutely crap. Like, yeah, I just thought all round performance was brilliant. And I'm, obviously don't get carried away, but obviously I'm going to be shameless and gas it up. But Donnarumma saved them from embarrassment. If we lose to Arsenal, it's Panic FC over again. It depends on the performance. When we lost to Arsenal first game of the season under Ruben Amorim, I actually started saying I'm not worried. I said I'm not worried. That was a good performance from Ruben Amorim. That was a good performance from Man United. I'm not worried. And then we were crap versus Fulham, and then I was like, oh. But when we played Arsenal under Ruben Amorim, I was quite positive after the first game of the season. I believed that we were going to have a decent season, and we still can, I guess. It's just annoying that we dropped points to Burnley and Wolves and Everton and West Ham, and we didn't take advantage of that because look, we're in a decent place in the league table, which is also good. I mean, Liverpool got a point today. They didn't quite lose to Burnley. Kanate was doing everything he could to help us out today. But let's have a look at the league table. 5th place, we'll take that. We had an opportunity to go 4th today. We won, we went into 4th. Liverpool got a point, we're in 5th. 5th could be Champions League football. But look, the top 3 is nailed on. The one thing is, everybody in this sort of top 6 has European football but us. Everybody in this top 6 has a lot more games than us. And I think one thing that we had over City was we were fresher. The energy was great. We were fresher than City. We had good energy. Like Newcastle will fancy themselves. They win. They go on 35 points. Depending on the goal difference, they could go above us. Realistically, like no disrespect to Sunderland and Brentford, but realistically, Newcastle, Chelsea, Man United and Liverpool are competing for 4th and maybe 5th if 5th is UCL. And I think we've got 1 game a week. The problem is the midfield. If I'm telling you this now, if Casemiro, Maino or Bruno get injured, we're effed. We are effed. Casemiro, Maino, Bruno is a good midfield 3. But one injury and we're effed. I feel like if we are guaranteed no injuries, 1 game a week, we can sneak it. But that midfield is thin. That midfield is thin. And that brings me into my point. If I'm INEOS, I look at that performance and go, wow, that was a good performance. Wow, maybe Michael Carrick can do something this season, but he's going to need a midfielder. You could argue left winger Dorgu's been quite good today. If I'm INEOS, I say, you know what? I'm going to just get the checkbook out. Because even if Michael Carrick doesn't succeed and we have a new manager in the summer, that new manager in the summer is going to need a midfielder. I don't want loans. There was talk of, we might bring Ruben Loftus-Cheek in on loan. F off. I've seen everyone say this. We should hire Amorim and sack him again after today. We can't get carried away, to be fair. Like, it is just 1 game. But it was just 1 game. But the thing about this 1 game was it's a different level. Like, we beat City and Liverpool under Amorim, but it was never that dominant. Like, I'm not taking anything away from that. Amorim did really well to beat City and Liverpool. I don't want to disrespect that win. But this was not just that we won. But this was like, we destroyed them. I don't feel like we've destroyed a big team like that in a while. Like, I'm talking destruction. Like, there's winning, and then there's winning and like, wow, you destroyed them. Maybe the FA Cup final, we could have been 3-0 up. We did destroy City there. But we have, like, under Rolly, we had a few games where we destroyed City. But for me, this was destruction. Absolute disruption. We need a Delo replacement so bad. Well, Managerial's coming back from AFCON. Look, if we beat Arsenal, wow. Alice, the scenes if we beat Arsenal, that would mean Michael Carrick got back-to-back wins, which took Ruben a year. Imagine if he does that against the best 2 teams in the league and is the first team to beat Arsenal at Emirates. And 2 clean sheets. If we won 3-0, he would equal Amorim's clean sheet record and we'd have got back-to-back wins. Wow. Alice, we have 4-4-2 manager. It's not necessarily about playing a 4-4-2. It's 4-2-3-1s can be evolved into 4-4-2s. It's just about being adaptable. And that was Ruben Amorim's biggest downfall. I think if Ruben Amorim was more adaptable, he could have succeeded at Manchester United, but he was very stuck to his principles. If Ruben Amorim's in charge today, we have another centre-back on the pitch, and Maino's not getting a sniff, and Maino was one of our best players today. That little nutmeg on Semenyo was nuts. So I don't think it's about 4-4-2, but it's like someone that can play multiple formations. We need somebody that can adapt and play multiple formations because you have to adapt sometimes in the Premier League. Yeah. Carrick going around being appreciated as players at the end of the day, at the end of the game. Yeah, the players were playing for Carrick today as well. The energy was there. I mean, to be fair, I always felt like they did play for Amorim. There were some games where the intensity from the players was shocking, like Brentford. But I've always felt like I don't actually feel like the players have not tried. Like, I feel like the players actively threw Mourinho under the bus. But I don't think those players wanted Amorim sacked, to be honest. Maybe bar Maino and like maybe like Xerxes and maybe Dorgu, actually, to be fair. I don't think they really wanted Amarin sacked. Alice, the Amarin sections have been real quiet after the main performance. They have. This is what I just don't get about it. Like, I'm all for backing the manager because at the end of the day, the problem is the people above the manager. And I'm all for fans saying, I back Ruben Amorim because it doesn't matter what happens, the next manager is going to be thrown under the bus by the ownership, and that's fine. But there was a small percentage of fans that were Amorim in, but they were Amorim in to a point that, like, because Amorim didn't like Maino, they were hate watching Maino. They were like, Maino's rubbish. Get rid of Maino. Get rid of Shea Lacey. Get rid of the youth. There was a small percentage of fan base that almost liked the manager more than the club. I get backing the manager because of the ownership and stuff, and I get why people were Amorim in because of the ownership, and we were sixth when he was sacked. But there was a small percentage of those people that were Amorim in that were actively like, Maino is a disgrace, get him out of the club, like, Maino's awful, Maino's rubbish, like, convincing us that Maino was rubbish and that the Shea Lacey would be rubbish. And it's just like, that's just not the case. That's just not the case. Like, can we stop trash talking our own players? Like, again, people have been giving Cunha a lot of stick lately, and I think he's frustrating at times. But Cunha was fantastic when he came on. He got 1 assist, technically 2, because I still think he was onside. But also the amount of times that Cunha got back, won a tackle, kept the ball in our own half. Like, Cunha won the ball back a lot in our own half, was keeping it. You know, I thought Cunha was excellent. I feel like sometimes we just slander our players after like 1 or 2 games, and people need to calm down. No, as much as I like to get carried away and gaslight, like, realistically, no. Look, if Carrick went and won like 10 games in a row, we might be having a different conversation, but yeah, it is just 1 win, to be honest. This game proves that Amorim should have been sacked. Well, it doesn't necessarily prove that. It's 1 game. Like, if Carrick goes and wins the next 5, goes and loses the next 5 in a row, then it's a different story. Like, this 1 game was attacking football, amazing football, dominant. It felt like United DNA. But, you know, it's more, we can't just say because Carrick was amazing this game. We have to actually see a bigger sample size because we don't know how the next 2 games are going to go. But what I will say is that game was incredible. That is one of that I was watching the highlights. There was 17 minutes of highlights of just us attacking, like 17-minute comp of just our attacks. It was just an amazing game. It was the performance. It just was the performance. That's what it was. It wasn't just the win because 2-0 is 2-0. But it was like, it was a 6-0 performance. And it was just a great win. Great win today, Alice. I'm an Arsenal fan. I can't say thanks enough because you know our song and we're Arsenal. Ugh. Do you know what? Arsenal fans are excited because of what we did today, but hopefully we go do that at the Emirates. I hate to break it to you, but I'm hoping we do that at the Emirates. Maybe he's given them belief. Cunha's shown he can make the passes and the good decisions. Yeah, I thought Cunha was fantastic today. Very selfless as well. People argue that Cunha's selfish, but very selfless. And I honestly don't think that 3rd goal was offside. I just think, because they're talking about with Wirtz, this 5-centimetre rule. So if there's this 5-centimetre rule with Wirtz, where's the 5-centimetre rule with Cunha? But anyway, I want to talk about Elliot Anderson. Because I did watch a little bit. I didn't have time to watch the Arsenal game today because I was making videos on the other games and I've been so busy. But I watched a bit of the Arsenal game today. And wow. Elliot Anderson won 12 out of 15 duels against Arsenal. The parts of the game that I watched, Elliot Anderson was incredible. Casemiro is probably going to leave at the end of the season. And look, you've got to give credit to Casemiro because when Casemiro plays 1 game a week, he's great. Casemiro rested midweek for Brighton. 1 game a week, Casemiro is a different player because he's got the legs. Casemiro has the brain, but sometimes his legs are leaving. When he plays 1 game a week, he's so much better because I think Casemiro was a bit poor this last month because we had a lot of 2 games a week. 1 game a week, Casemiro is a different monster, but Elliot Anderson is probably the guy to replace Casemiro with. Anderson, Maino, I'm hoping Bruno stays. The only way Bruno stays is if we get Champions League football. I think if we get Champions League football, Bruno stays. I think that's the only way. But an Elliot Anderson, Maino, Bruno, midfield 3. Thanks for the super chat, Vic. I miss the days when United was our punching bag and I'd come here to troll during watch-alongs. I don't miss those days, but I am enjoying the win versus City. I can't lie. I don't miss it when we were getting battered 3-0, 6-2, 6-3 was it actually. I don't miss that. I don't miss it. No one could like we can be shameless today. We can enjoy it. Could we get top 4? I think we can get top 5 if we don't get injuries. But what I will say is if I am INEOS, I just say we're going to do everything for Elliot Anderson. If I am INEOS, I'm going to show some ambition, and I'm going to do everything for Elliot Anderson. We need Elliot Anderson. He is the guy to go next to Maino. He's better than Baleba. He complements Maino a lot better than Wharton. We need to break the bank for Elliot Anderson. If I'm INEOS, and I think my title's it was like INEOS, show some ambition and make big signings, and we can go for top 4. If I'm INEOS, I'd do everything for Elliot Anderson. We have 65 million. We know that. We try to put that on Semenyo. Add 10 million more to that. And do you know what? Even if you have to sell Xerxes for 25, 30 million, do you know what? Even if we have to sell Xerxes for 25, 30 million to make it happen, we have 65 million. We can sell Xerxes for 25, 30 million. So we could have 90 million to spend this January. Go and put an 80 million bid on Elliot Anderson. I'm saying this now, when people say that's crazy, 80 million, you have to pay a bit more in January to make it happen. I don't know if Forest will sell. I would go and put an 80 million bid on Elliot Anderson, because we know Elliot Anderson probably wants to go to City, but Pep's going to leave City at the end of the season. We look good right now. Maybe the win can convince them because we batty. I don't know. This is one game. But if I'm INEOS, I seriously just go and put 8 million on Elliot Anderson. I seriously go and do it. Because I feel like City would do that if they hadn't just spent all that other money on Semenyo and Gay. I just feel like, maybe that's just me. But go put a bid. Go show some ambition and make something happen. I think if we get Elliot Anderson, I think we're guaranteed Champions League football. But the problem is, I can't say we're guaranteed Champions League football, because if Casemiro gets injured and is out for the rest of the season, we know that we can't win a game without Casemiro. When Casemiro doesn't start, we are crap. So that's why I think we need to go in and sign a player where we can rest Casemiro and bring him in when we need. INEOS saw this win and they're going to sign Loftus-Cheek. I swear. Please don't give me Loftus-Cheek. I'll keep Xerxes, not even Sesko's in strike option. The only reason I say sell Xerxes, because I do like Xerxes, is because Cunha played number 9 and Mbeumo played number 9 today. I think Carrick sees Mbeumo and Cunha as number 9 options. You know, we might sell Xerxes. Look, I would like Xerxes to stay and see what he can do. I do quite like Xerxes. You know, but what I'm saying is, potentially, if he's seeing Mbeumo and Cunha as number 9 options, and you could get Elliot Anderson, I would do, if I was INEOS, I'd seriously just try. I don't think it would work, but I would seriously just try my best, do everything we can. We're going to talk about Bruno replacements, because there is that fear that Bruno could leave. We're going to talk about a few other bits and bobs in the world of football. Bear with me one sec. I've just been sent something. I just need to add something to my stream. We've been linked to Yildiz, interestingly. Now, he's been linked as a Bruno replacement, which, to be fair, he's been playing as a second striker this season. And with Carrick's 4-4-2, Bruno almost became a second striker at times. So, you know, I'm not saying that Carrick's going to be the long-term manager, but I'm just saying this is what we're doing. And if Carrick's system does well, I think we'll go and get McKenna in the summer, because it's very similar to Carrick's. But what I'm trying to say is, I look at Man United and I think, you know, hopefully Bruno doesn't go, but they've been linked to Yildiz, who is a left winger that can also play as a 10. So I guess it makes sense. It fills the left wing spot. And if Bruno stayed another season, you put him left wing, he spends a year here, then we see if he's good enough to take on Bruno's role the following year. I don't know. I will talk about the Yildiz links in a minute. I'd take Hayden Hackney. The thing about Hayden Hackney is he's more of someone that can come in and rotate with Maino rather than rotate with Casemiro as well. OMG Alice was a fantastic win. Would you rather have Bruno next year or Elliot Anderson? Bruno. I wouldn't sell Bruno. Like, Elliot Anderson's great, but everything goes through Bruno. Every time the players have the ball, they just pass to Bruno. Everything goes through Bruno Fernandes. So, yeah. But let's continue on. Pep looks dumb. Pep does look dumb. Alice, I'm skeptical about INEOS. They've made so many mistakes. Of course they have. They're idiots. I think they're actually trying, though. I feel like they're actually trying. They're just not great at their job. It's like too many egos. Do you know what I mean? Baleba could come for 60 minutes plus add-ons in Jan. I mean, we could try it. I mean, I would go for Elliot Anderson over Baleba, but the problem with Elliot Anderson is apparently he wants to go to City, and Baleba wants to go to us. So Baleba's more attainable, but Anderson is better. Nico Paz is a Bruno replacement, potentially. The problem is, it's like there's all these great names that we can say is a Bruno replacement, but like in the summer, people would have said Xavi Simons and Florian Wirtz as the Bruno replacement. Now, Florian Wirtz is getting better and better, but they've just not stepped up in the Premier League. You know, Nico Paz is great, but could he come to Man United and do what Bruno does? Like, would Xavi Simons have done what Bruno has done if we sold Bruno in the summer and brought Simons in? Would Wirtz have done what Bruno had done if we sold Bruno in the summer and brought Wirtz in? I just don't think so. That's why as much as I would go all out for Elliot Anderson, I don't want to go to City, I wouldn't sell Bruno for him. I wouldn't. People were saying in the summer that they'd sell Bruno to get Baleba. I'm so glad we didn't do that. But apparently we're monitoring Kenan Yildiz. He is seen as a serious option to step into Bruno the part. I don't know if he's a Bruno replacement. I know he's been playing second striker this year and he can play left wing. I think he's a great young talent. But the problem is, I think to replace Bruno, you need someone that's like 24, 25, that's in their prime. I feel like with Yildiz, he's great. He's young, 17 goals and 4 assists in Italy. But he's only 20. Like, I feel like that's big boots to fill. That's big boots to fill. I like Yildiz. Don't get me wrong. I think he's a good player. 45 goal contributions at age 20 for club and country. 5 goals and 5 assists when he's played second striker this season. If we're doing a 4-4-2 setup, it kind of works. But yeah, Yildiz would cook. I think he would cook for sure. I'm not saying no to Yildiz, but I would like Yildiz and Bruno. Like, Yildiz and Bruno would be great. Baleba's a great option. Yeah, Baleba was great in AFCON. What I'm saying about Baleba is fantastic in AFCON. Cap for Brighton this season. I would say Baleba 100%, but Elliot Anderson would be my number one. What makes today even better is Liverpool and Arsenal dropping points for sure. Like, I don't want City to win the league, but I also don't want Arsenal to win the league. I kind of want Villa to do something. So Arsenal dropping points is great. If we beat Arsenal next week and City win, then there's only a 4-point gap between them. And if Villa win the next 2 games, there'd only be a 1-point gap. So my hope is that Villa win, we beat Arsenal and Villa win again, and the gap between Arsenal and Villa is just 1 point in the title race. I need Villa to get some results. Villa have got Everton, and then they've got Newcastle. Newcastle away. They don't do good versus Newcastle, Villa. But that would be nice. Could we win the league, Alice, if Carrick won every game? That's a big if. Maybe. But that's a big if. I think we're too far off. But look, Arsenal don't look great. But they just look exhausted. Like, Arsenal have looked unreal this season at points, and then they've also looked shocking at points. Like, the Wolves game poor, the Forest game poor. But Arsenal will be up for it because it's Man United. They'll be up for it. P.S. Alice starts doing late night streams and we start beating Man City, just saying. I mean, I did late night streams a little bit over the summer. I do the odd late night stream. I do a late night stream match day, or if I feel like there's just stuff to talk about. Like, I don't really, if there's not loads to talk about, then I probably wouldn't do a late night stream. Would you take Hayden Hackney? Yes, of course. I mean, I would take anyone. No, I wouldn't take anyone. I wouldn't take Loftus-Cheek, and I didn't really want Conor Gallagher. I wouldn't take anyone, but I want a midfielder. I just feel like we could do something. Not even joking, Victor Gyökeres is awful. I mean, he was poor. Have you seen his stats? Someone actually put this on Twitter. And let me see if I can find it. Guys, I think Sesko is better than Gyökeres. I actually think it might have been a blessing in disguise. This is Victor Gyökeres. Against Forest, he completed 4 passes. And then the guy that tweeted it said, Vince, I'm not even joking. This guy only made 6 passes and completed 4 in 67 minutes. Mate, this is worse than Højlund. This is worse than Højlund. Like, and he's so much older than Sesko. Like, maybe blessing in disguise. Maybe it's a blessing in disguise that we didn't get Gyökeres. He was poor. Madueke apparently has 0 goals and 0 assists in the Premier League. Considering he cost 50 million, I think he's been all right. And he's not played loads of minutes, but 0 goals and 0 assists for a 50 million player. If he plays for the Man United and gets 0 goals and 0 assists, they're going on and on and on about it. That's actually nuts, you know. Did you watch Arsenal Forest? I watched bits of it. Arsenal will get a ball, but Arsenal looked exhausted versus Forest. I think Arsenal will rotate in the Champions League because the top of the Champions League can be fresher for us. I think they'll be fresher when they play us. Baleba's still better than Anderson and Wharton, English tax. Not this season. Last season, yeah, but not this season. Not this season. Alice, who's better, Delap, Gyökeres or Sesko? Probably Sesko. That's not me being biased. Number 1 has been Ekitike. Number 2, you can argue between Voltemada and João Pedro. I'd say 1's Ekitike, 2 João Pedro, 3 Voltemada. There's a bit of a gap. 4 Sesko, 5 Delap, 6 Gyökeres. Probably Delap's been worse than Gyökeres, to be fair, but Delap's younger and half the price and half the wages. I know everyone keeps going on that Deloche should have been sent off, but I actually thought that Anthony Taylor was a disgrace. Because they didn't send off Deloche, Anthony Taylor made sure that he gave City nearly every other decision today. I agree. I thought that like some of the fouls on Dorgu got ignored as well. When Carrick last coached Man United, he gifted Chelsea a late penalty. He did the penalty that Chelsea got. Yeah, when Carrick was managing against Chelsea, Anthony Taylor gave Chelsea was awful. Yeah, it wasn't great. Alice, do you think Paul Scholes will be apologising to Martinez in the morning? Hopefully. But the thing is, what was mad about what Paul Scholes said about Lisandro Martinez was that Lisandro Martinez had literally played against Haaland twice before and done really well. Lisandro Martinez has always done well against Haaland, so like I don't know if they watched the FA Cup final when Martinez and Varane were tanks. Like the reason we won the FA Cup final was one because the attack was great, Maino was great, Garnacho was great, Rashford was great. But the reason we won the FA Cup final was because we had Leacher and Varane back for that game. We had Leacher and Varane back for the FA Cup final, and they pocketed Haaland. So the talk about Lisandro Martinez before the game was nuts because he's pocketed Haaland before. Dorgu's been good, yeah. The thing with Dorgu is also his confidence. I think Dorgu's been good for a solid month now. I think Dorgu's had 5-6 good games in a row. And he needed that game versus Newcastle to goal the confidence. Because we've seen him play for Denmark, he's fantastic. We see him play for Man United and he's scared to take people on. Now we got that goal for Man United. He's playing with another level of confidence and energy. And one thing about Dorgu is he'll always give 100%. And with Dorgu, he's 20. People were writing off Dorgu like he wasn't good enough to play for us. And he had games where he wasn't convincing. But I said the guy is 20. He showed signs last season. He had good bad games. The guy is 20. Why are we writing off a 20-year-old playing for the worst ever Man United side that I've watched in my lifetime? Like, why are we writing him off? He came in mid-season. He didn't have time to learn. He came in mid-season. Last year as a 20-year-old to try and save us. In the season, we came 15th, and people were writing him off. It's like you have to give these young guys time. Dorgu's been excellent. Absolutely excellent. Alice, that pass from Bruno Fernandes in the 21st minute is one of the best things I've seen. That pass from Bruno to Dorgu is, it was Beckham-esque. Absolutely Beckham-esque. I mean, people who don't rate Bruno Fernandes, honestly, if you don't rate Bruno Fernandes, football's not sport for you to watch. Like, I generally believe that like Bruno Fernandes is arguably the best player in the Premier League right now. Like, if we're looking, okay, being real, best players in the Premier League. You can't say Cole Palmer right now because he's been off it for a while. I think he's got potential to be, but he's off it for a while. You can't say anyone at Liverpool because Van Dijk's been shocking. Salah's been not great this season. Saka's been off it. Like, Saka's been on and off it. If you're talking best player in the Premier League, you can say Haaland, but then he's ghosted the last few games. There's like 4 touches a game. So if we're actually being real and talking best player in the Premier League, you can argue Gabriel of Arsenal, Declan Rice of Arsenal, Moises Caicedo, Bruno Fernandes, and to be honest, I'd throw Bruno Guimaraes in there this season. If we're talking, and if we're going off this season, Morgan Rogers, if we're looking at right now, who's being nominated for PFA Player of the Season, you're looking at Morgan Rogers of Villa. You're looking at Bruno Guimaraes of Newcastle. You're looking at Bruno Fernandes of Man United. You're looking at Declan Rice. You're looking at Gabriel, and you will be looking at Haaland for his goals. Like that for me would be 6 good nominations for PFA Player of the Season. I'm probably missing out someone really obvious. If I'm missing out someone really obvious, let me know down below. But Rogers, Bruno, Rice, Gabriel, Haaland, yeah? I wouldn't put Saka in there. I wouldn't put anyone in Arsenal's attack in there. You know, Ekitike's been good, but I wouldn't say he's been to the level of Bruno Fernandes, for example. I would probably say those 6. I feel like I'm missing out someone. Maybe Caicedo, but he's had red cards, injuries, a little bit of momentum's gone with Caicedo. Like, yeah. Like, am I missing out on someone really obvious? Like, you could maybe Cherky, but he was a ghost. Foden's been a ghost lately the last few games. Semenyo, yeah. I mean, Semenyo, you could. But I honestly, like, do you know, is it silly to say Bruno? I mean, Ahmad's nuts, but we're talking, you know, Premier League Player of the Season nominations. Like, I actually think Bruno Fernandes, Gabriel, and Rice probably the 3 best players in the Premier League right now. Like, Bruno's just, and also like, what makes Bruno another level is he's doing it at Man United. He's doing it at Man United. Could these other players do it at Man United? Oh, don't get me wrong, Ahmad's been class, but I just think Bruno's nuts. Like, I genuinely do. I don't know, I was like saying that as a bit of a joke, but then I was like, actually, who could be the best player in the Premier League? Bruno's the best player in the Premier League has fallen off. The thing is, What I will say is Bruno's played out of position all season. Sometimes been a liability when he's been run by. Bruno plays one game in the 10 role, creates 6 chances versus Pep's Man City. Since Pep's joined the Premier League, no player has ever created 6 chances against his team. No player has ever created 6 chances in a single game versus Man City since Pep joined. Bruno did that today. 4 big chances. Bruno in the 10 role, people. Bruno in the 10 role. Igor Thiago's been class, but a lot of his goals have been penalties. Villa will hit a rocky patch soon. I hope not. I'm rooting for Villa to win the league, so I hope not. Yeah, Alice, if Man United got top 4 and Bruno continues playing like this, should he be nominated for PFA Player of the Season? Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, maybe I'm getting carried away. It's one game. We might go lose the next game, but look, it is what it is, to be honest. It absolutely is what it is. But anyway, people, I'm going to wrap up the live show here. Just wanted to do a half-an-hour live show to just hype up Man United, be a bit shameless, talk about who I want us to sign, hype up our players, banter Gyökeres, and look, I hope that I'm here this time next week taking the mick out of Arsenal, because that would be great. Thank you for watching. Bye.